Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In the workshop this week we have a VW California Ocean behind us, and we're going to be installing new STX coilovers on this one. Swapping out the suspension on it due to the rear not sitting quite level with the front. And this is something you'll probably find is quite common with a lot of camper conversions. So generally when they come as an empty panel van, they sit fairly level, and the front and rears generally match up. But once you convert them, you start putting in like a heavy rock and roll bed in the back or furniture, things like that, you can find that the rear end drops on them and the rake on it just doesn't sit right. And what we're going to be doing is replacing the standard shocks and springs with the ST Suspensions Coilovers. Highly recommend this kit. It's a very good suspension coilover kit for the VW T5s and T6s, especially if you want a comfy ride and you still want to be able to level out that suspension. You want it adjustable up and down, 35 to 70 mil approximately on adjustment, so it is a great kit to use. So when we set up the suspension springs, we're going to be trying to bring this back up so it matches up with the front of the vehicle, just to make sure that all the arch gaps are correct, especially as they carry heavy loads in the back when you start adding awnings and all your camping gear. So let's get cracking with this now, and we'll get sorted with this one. Put those springs on. Right, so we've just dropped the camper down on its wheels for the first time since fitting this suspension. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at it now, take some measurements. We need to decide what ride height we're going to have the camper at. The customer wants this one not too low, so we need to balance that out, and we're also trying to get the rake angle correct. We don't want the back end to be lower than the front. We're going to keep the front end, you know, level, and we're probably going to we normally sit it so that the back end is slightly higher than the front, so that when you add your awning to it and you load up ready to go camping, this one's got a bike rack on the back, so when you add bikes to it, it's going to level out the van rather than it sitting really low at the back driving along. So when it's completely empty, it's going to sit a little bit higher at the back, but only minute amount. But then when you get it loaded, it then levels it out. And at the moment, first thoughts on this. So our initial thoughts on this is that the back end is sitting slightly too low for where we want. The front's been dropped probably around 40 to 50 mil. We're going to take some measurements in a second and find out. And just from a visual point of view, we're looking at that and we think that the back is slightly lower than the front. But until we take some measurements, we won't know. We want to try and bring that up a little bit. So we're either going to take the back up a little bit, or we'll drop the front. Personally, I don't think the customer would want this one to go any lower than what it is. So what we'll do is we'll bring that back up slightly. But we've got full adjustability in these. We're set them at about halfway as standard when we drop them down. And then we've got room to move those up or down. So probably going to get it back in the air. We'll take some measurements first, and then we'll get it back up in the air. And we'll probably bring that back end just up a touch. I reckon probably 5 mil or so. So we're going to get a laser on this and get this measured up and measure some hub to arch clearances and see what we're going to need to do. Right guys, you probably can't see it particularly well, but we've got a laser level set up here with the horizontal and vertical axes on the wheel, and we're coming straight through the center of the hub on this. We've lined it up at the center of the hub. Gives us our vertical there, so we can actually take a measurement from this and from the other side, and we can get those heights to see what we are working with. So at the moment, if we put that onto where it needs to be and we go up to here, currently 415 at the front, from center of the hub to the bottom of the arch, 415. Check the back one and see if we're anywhere near. Back one, we are seeing 412. I'd say 411 or 412. So we're about 3 to 4 mil out. So 3 to 4 mil. This one needs to go up by. We're going to take that. We'll probably take that about 5 to 6 mil up, so that we've got that angle that we're requiring. So that when this van gets fully loaded, you know, it drops it down. It doesn't look too drastically low at the back. Ideally, we want that angle to be nice and flat looking through, because there's nothing worse than the camper vans that just sit too low at the back end. So get this set up exactly how the customer was requiring it to be, and put it back up in the air, adjust the rear collets, drop it back down, test drive it, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we've test driven this one. It's all been set up. We've got it to the correct ride height that we're after, and we've lowered it at the front. We've got about a 50 mil drop at the front, and it's been lowered about 35 at the rear. So this one's sitting just lovely, because obviously it was sitting low at the rear from the start anyway. So that's balanced that out, and we've got it pretty much level. a little bit lower at the front, only a little bit, just for when this customer loads up all of the back of it and puts his bikes on the back. It's going to make that ride perfectly smooth. Now we always offer a free adjustment, because once the suspension settles a little bit, you're probably going to need the suspension adjusted. It might not be sat exactly how you want, might be riding a little bit low at the front, or you know, you might decide that you want to bring it up or drop it down even further than what we've done, in which case that's fine. You just come back, it takes about half an hour and we can get that all adjusted for you exactly as you want it. As you can see here, the clearance on the standard van, so we've still got a standard van here from another customer, and that's in also for the same coilovers. That's going to have the same coilovers fitted, it's going to be lowered, it's going to be adjusted to be the same ride height as this van we've just done. And you can see on the van with the standard suspension, the arch gap clearance that you've got is completely different on the standard suspension. You've got this big gap at the front here. You know, we can fit like our whole hand in under there, and then where we've dropped it now is sitting nicely at the level that we require. The rear, again, there's not much difference between the two. It has been dropped probably about 30mm compared to the standard one, 20 to 30mm, but that's because we don't want to drop it too far and have the same issue as the standard suspension, where it looks low at the back, it looks like it's dragging the rear end, and we want to keep that up to the correct ride height, especially for when we're loading up things in these camper vans. Okay, that's it for today then, guys. If you have any questions on any of this, or you were interested in having the ST suspension or any other combo of suspension that we offer, then please do get in touch and we can help you out and get those fitted. In the meantime, if you could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic, and we hope to see you next time. See you soon.